Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Well, this was unexpected, wasn't it? Just a few days ago, Iron himself announces that Maul will be released early ahead of the schedule for Phase 2, on the 15th of October for the NA boys, and the 16th for the EU lads. Now, before we get into the new content, I just want to talk about the fact that they're actually doing this. Quoting directly from Iron here, that they have heard from many of you that you're ready for something new to sink your teeth into. Who exactly are the people saying this? Have Blizzard been spooked by the sub drop-off? I bet the majority of players who have let their sub lapse had taken in what they wanted to see and left pre-60, while Maul is much more geared towards endgame content. Maul has many upgrades which supersede things available from current content, meaning people will be missing out on certain dungeons too. It just seems overall very strange to do this, especially so early on. One of the best things about Classic is there is a definitive endpoint for gear. There is best in slot. It almost feels like Blizzard has noticed playtime is slowing down, so they need to up the numbers by throwing out Maul super early. Don't get me wrong, Maul's exciting and everything, and fair enough if they want to do it early, I guess, but this feels a bit too early to me. Let me know what you think. Ramble aside, let's look at what content is being brought into the game, because there's quite a bit. You may have already seen it, but certain items will be jumping up in price for the release of Maul, many of which should maintain a decent price for the first few weeks following as well. You should be able to cash in from this early release by meeting the new demand. As with any content patch that awards gear, people will need new enchants, so expect key materials to have a small bump up in price, namely Illusion Dust, Eternal Essences, and Brilliant Shards, all obtained from disenchanting level 56 and above items. Felcloth, which was already a good earner, just got even better as a new set of best in slot gloves are coming out for Warlocks that need 20 Felcloth to create, and these are the Felcloth gloves. I'll go over how to get these new patterns shortly. Essences of water and air will also have shot up, no doubt. Once again, they're both used in some new very powerful items like the Shifting Cloak and Hide of the Wild. I mentioned good spots to farm these in my Druid Strengths video if you're interested in bagging some gold around Maul release. There should be a transmute for Undeath to Water release in Maul 2. I can't find confirmation of this, but if this transmute does start coming into the game, Essence of Water will drop off quite sharply. We'll have to wait and see with that one. Finally, I just want to highlight pristine black diamonds used in the new Arcanums, which will have skyrocketed too. These are very low drop chance from a number of endgame dungeons. All of these patterns and many more can be obtained from freeing Not Thimblejack, who is found in Maul North. He has two quests. First of all, the turn-in to get the Gordok Ogre suit for the tribute runs, which I'll also talk about later. And secondly, a quest to free him which requires a Gordok Shackle key, which can be looted from random mobs or bosses within the instances. Watch out if you need to turn in for an Ogre suit, as he runs off once he's free, and the chest he leaves behind drops a wide range of items. Also, just to quickly mention here, the top half of the blacksmithing plan, the enchanted Thorium breastplate, drops from King Gordok, and the bottom from Goraluk Anvil Crack in Upper Blackrock Spire. And this is a strongly itemized tank chest. There are better alternatives out there, however. Many new best in slot items will enter the game. Check your biz list if you're going after it, as it will almost certainly have changed, especially for healers who receive a plethora of exceptionally well statted new items like the aforementioned Hide of the Wild, which is best in slot for all healers apart from the MP5 hungry Resto Shamans, and this is craftable through tribal leatherworking. Padre's trousers from Ileana Ravenoak in Maul West, once again really good, and a cloth so every healer can wear them. Whipvine Cord is also exceptionally good and just happens to be cloth. This one's from Alzin the Wild Shaper in Maul East. Magister Calendris drops the Mind Tap Talisman, great for all healers again. And the final one I want to highlight is the Brightly Glowing Stone from King Gordok himself. So if you are healing, I hope you like Maul, as you're going to be spending plenty of time here. There are actually more items I could have listed as well, but I think you get the idea now. As for the melee DPS classes, a new bow is out with some hit on it, so you're going to want to go after that, which is Sator's bow from Zevrim Thornhoof in Maul East. Rogues and Hunters, I hope you fancy tribute runs, as Tarnished Elven Ring is super well statted and aren't unique either, so having two of these is a lot of agility and an easy 2% hit. As for the tanky boys, nothing of too much interest really. There's nothing too insane to talk about for ferals. For plate wearers, there are Fell Hardened Bracers from Lord Helnora, who is the boss that is part of the Warlock's Dreadspeed questline, so you're going to need some good luck getting these because they're going to be really hard to farm. You also have the Readout Cape from a Tribute run. Good upgrades, a bit harder to get though. As for casters, well, there's some decent loot for sure, but nothing much has changed for us. The real changes will occur when Phase 2 actually comes out and we can start grinding ranks for that sweet PvP gear. Tempest Talisman could be worth a mention from Diamol East from the boss Hydro Spawn, which mages will be doing anyway for the max rank of water, that I'll mention in a moment. Next up, the Arcanums, and these are pretty pricey to get, but give you some nice bonuses on your items. There are 3 to mention. These are the Arcanums of Protection, Rapidity, and Focus. To get these, you need to have completed a quest first called Elven Legends, which starts in your faction HUD in Feralus, from Sage Corallusk in Camp Mojache for the Horde, from Scholar Runethorn in Feathermoon Stronghold for Alliance. This is a simple turning quest in Diamol North. It does require the Crescent Key to enter the library area where the quest takes place though, and you can check my achievement vids on how to get this. Once you've done this quest, you'll be able to speak to Lawkeeper Lydros, who will then give you the quests that reward the Arcanums. Very simple. Lydros also gives a quest which will be of vital importance for the many mages out there, the final rank of Conjure Water. All he needs is you to go and defeat Hydra Spawn in Diamol East and bring his essence back over to him. Simple quest, huge reward. Finally, Lydros also gives a quest for Quel'Serrar, a solid tanking sword. Not the best, despite the stats. It does look really cool though, so that's a plus. In order to get this, first you're going to need Fora's Compendium on Dragon Slaying, which is arguably the hardest part of this quest. It's a very rare drop from Diamol, and should be worth a huge amount on the auction house too, I'll bet. Go chat to Lydros, who will give you a blade and a challenge. Take the dull and flat Elven Blade to Onyxia's Lair, equip it and get hit by Deep Breath during phase 2, the flying bit, to heat the blade. Make sure you have decent fire resistance gear and a greater fire protection potion running for this, or just a combat res too, I suppose. After she's landed, finish her off, use the blade on her, and that'll give you the temper blade. Then you can head back to Lydros for your reward. There are also books dropped for each class that reward trinkets, some more useful than others. For me as a warlock, this is an upgrade, so I'm looking forward to getting it. The books are low drop chances off any boss or from dusty tomes found throughout Diamol, and there's one for each class, so I'd recommend looking them up if you're curious, as there are many to list. These are all handed in at various lore keepers in the same library area where you found Lydros in Diamol North, so bring along a Crescent Key. These are just simple handling quests for solid rewards, huge upgrades for certain classes as well. Speaking about classes and moving on to PvP, a new free-for-all area comes with Diamol 2, and just like the Gurabashi Arena, Blizzard have popped a few incentives to get you to want to go there, and much better than Gurabashi Arena 2. 3 rare spawns with solid loot tables can appear here. There's a /yell in the zone for which one spawns too, which you can also hear inside the instance, so there'll very much be an arms race to get there first. These guys look pretty tough too, some databases showing them having around 60,000 health, so you're gonna need some friends for this. They are Mushgog, an elemental beast, Scar the Unbreakable, an ogre, and the Razza, who's a chimera. They drop items like Lordly Arm Guards, Maiden's Circle, Medallion of Grand Marshal Morris, and so on, as well as being good sources for the Orb of Deception, a fun item that makes you look like a member of the opposing faction. This arena should be pretty wild on release. Diamol really just keeps on giving. Both Paladins and Warlocks need Diamol as part of their quest to get their class mount. These class quests are pretty huge themselves, so I won't be covering them in full here, but the Warlocks need to perform the final step of their quest in Diamol West in the Prison of Imulthar, where the summoning and fight takes place in order to enslave the Dreadsteed. For Paladin, it's just a smaller part of the quest as a whole, but you need to enter Diamol West, defeat Tendrous Warpwood, who's the first boss there, and then speak with an equine spirit, and then continue the quest on from there. Both of these quests have pretty sizable gold sinks involved as well. They're by no means free, as the level 40 mounts are. If you want to go for these, they involve many endgame items that will have spikes in price due to Diamol releasing now, so it may be worth it to wait a bit before you do go for them. These mounts should be cheaper than the 900 gold you'd have to fork out for your epic mount though. Also, just a few things to consider about these mounts. They are spells, so they cost mana, they're on global cooldown, unlike normal mounts, they interrupt spirit regen, and they're interruptible casts, Shadow School for Warlocks and Holy for Paladins, so they're not actually very good for PvP scenarios strictly speaking. They do look pretty cool though. I'll be getting mine eventually I imagine, but I'm not in any rush for it. I'm going to throw out some options here as to what may be possible based off vids from the vanilla era, as well as methods that have been perfected on private servers. I'll wait to reserve full judgment on gold you can make and what is possible until we actually have our hands on Diamol, rather than promising things based off speculation or guessing. There was a lot of rumours going around what's possible. There are lasher runs AoEing down packs of lashers for gold, jump runs that are like a boss rush version of Diamol East, rumours that there will even be Black Lotus spawns inside Diamol, hunters soloing entire tribute runs. I can make an updated version once I've had some time to play around on what options there are for making gold in Dire Maul. Let me know if this sounds interesting as well. Finally, let's talk tribute runs. I've mentioned them a few times so far, and they have many benefits to offer. The idea is pretty simple: get to and defeat King Gordok without defeating any of the other bosses who are scattered throughout Dire Maul North. Getting past these bosses needs a bit of different trickery though, so you need to come prepared in order to get this done. The benefits of doing this are twofold. Each boss you skip will add an extra item to the tribute chest at the end, which are generally better items for most classes than they would drop by default. Also, you can run back through the instance and talk to certain bosses to receive pretty good buffs. Slipkick's Savvy, Fengus's Ferocity, and Moldar's Moxie. Add these together with the other buffs you can use on yourself and you'll start doing silly damage in raids. Okay, let's get started then. So you'll need certain items throughout this process. I'll tell you what you need as I go, as it depends on your group setup and what professions you have. It makes more sense for me to do it this way. So we're going to zone into Dire Maul North, and if you check just down the path you can already see the first boss we're skipping, who's Guard Moldar. This boss drops the Gordok inner door key. You'll either need to pickpocket it, kill him, or you can open the door with skeleton keys or explosives that I'll explain later on. Stay along the wall to the left, and we're going to carry on up the ramp and around the left side. If you're stealth, be careful around the dogs, they have stealth detection. Also, there are many patrols to watch around this place at all times, so always just keep an eye out. The bosses themselves also patrol, so don't rush yourself here. Next boss we'll be skipping is Guard Fengus, who patrols around this courtyard area here. In order to progress, you need a key from the chest in the middle. However, to do this safely, you need someone who can stealth. If your party doesn't have that, you either need a powerful Siforium charge or a true silver skeleton key to open the door to progress. Either loot the key or open it with one of those other methods. Carry on down the hallway, take out the eyes of Kilrog quickly before they call help. They also have stealth detection, by the way. Just past the bugs and the next pack, be careful as the next boss patrols this area, Guard Slipkick. There are a few options on how to get past here. I'd recommend playing it safe. If you mess up here and pull him, he has to die. You lose his tribute, or you run out, or wipe. They're all bad options. The intended way is to repair the trap in the centre of the room. This requires 1 frost oil and 1 thorium widget. A small investment for 5 people, to be honest. Wait for the boss to patrol into the trap and this section is done. Just to the right of the trap you'll see Not Thimblejack, who will have the quest for the Gordok Ogre suit. Now you can learn to make this yourself, but initially you have to hand in the items he requests, which are 4 bolts of rune cloth, 8 rugged leather, 2 rune thread and 1 ogre tannin. We'll get the ogre tannin in a moment, but bring the other items with you. Go up the ramp where the boss just patrolled and you'll see an ogre tannin basket. Loot it for your tannin. This will spawn a mob, so do be careful here. Take this tannin and the other materials back to Not, who'll make your suit. Oh, and by the way, if you do have the Gordok shackle key, don't use it before the suit is made or he'll run straight off. And once you've handed in, you can learn how to make your own suit for half the materials at 275 tailoring or leatherworking. And you'll need the suit shortly, so don't use it straight away just to avoid mistakes. So after we've got the suit, we're going to head back up the ramp and open the door at the top on the left, clear out all the mobs in front of Captain Cromcrush, and have your ogre suit person go and have a chat with him. Eventually he'll run off back down the stairs and your party can move on past him onto the home stretch. Clear your way to the king, pull the mobs way back here as the captains do have a fear ability they use quite often, and on this last fight we need to keep Chorush alive while wearing down the king. It's just like saving the princess in Blackrock Depths during the Emperor Thorison fight. Chorush tries to heal him, ideally have him off tanked out of range. I found reports he can be frost trapped but is immune to other CC like Polymorph. We'll have to see if that ends up being true. I'd just play it safe and off tank him if you can. Careful of patrols once again near the king before you start this fight as well. Once the king is dead, you're the new king. Mizzle the Crafty will appear shortly and pronounce you the new king and set the tribute chest down. This will have loot depending on how many bosses you kept alive, so grab that sweet loot and then you can head back through the instance and get buffs from the 3 bosses I mentioned earlier, those Slipkick, Fengus and Moldar. You can log out and save these buffs for raid or just get that extra whack in PvP. And that's it, that's your tribute run. Pretty simple once you got the hang of it. I'm really looking forward to Dire Maul myself and I'll be looking into making gold there in more detail once we get our hands on it. Which bit of Dire Maul are you going to go for first? Let me know, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one. If you like what you see, give the video a like and subscribe as there's plenty more to come. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Take care. Bye.